Hi, I'm Alex from Radio Times Gaming. Since the series was rebooted back in 2016, Doom has rightfully reclaimed its place among FPS royalty, and it doesn't look like that's going to be changing anytime soon. First things first, the combat. When trailers for the game first dropped, there was plenty of speculation that the Doomslayer's new shield indicated a slower, tankier playstyle. And while you certainly are tankier than you were in Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, one thing you certainly are not is slow. Combat in the previous two entries placed a heavy emphasis on movement, blitzing around a room, avoiding enemy attacks, and swapping between weapons to kill certain enemies. And while movement is still key in the Dark Ages, the game places much more emphasis on the mechanics you use and the way you use them, and the key to all of this is your shield. The shield initially seems like just another new weapon, but it actually makes more sense to think of it as a set of abilities to use in tandem with your weapons. You can block, parry, shield charge, and shield throw, all of which have their pros and cons, working better against certain enemies and also comboing better with certain weapons. More on that later. There's also a new melee attack that deals massive damage but has limited uses before it needs to recharge. Using this effectively in your rotation is crucial to staying alive and taking down stronger demons. Perhaps more important than the shield's offensive capabilities is its parry. Glory kills are much less prevalent in the Dark Ages, and instead you're encouraged to make use of parries and melee attacks to heal. Against certain enemies, parrying also deals massive damage and stagger. Early on you can get away with not using this, but against stronger enemies it's effectively a must, especially on higher difficulties. There's so much to talk about when it comes to the shield that we can't really fit it all in this one video, so we've got a deep dive coming up soon where we'll go much more in depth on it. Lastly, there's also a new melee attack that deals massive damage. It has limited uses but can be recharged with a successful parry, encouraging you to stay up close and personal. Using this effectively in your rotation is crucial to staying alive and taking down stronger demons. Up next is how Doom the Dark Ages tackles upgrades. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal feature an upgrade system where you can gain certain extra benefits for your weapons, but these upgrades never really go beyond simply improving the guns themselves. Doom the Dark Ages expands massively on this system, to the point where you can now effectively make specific builds tailored to how you want to play. One gun you receive early on fires stakes that embed themselves in the enemies you hit. Once you can start unlocking upgrades, you can combo this weapon with your shield throw for even more damage. One upgrade path causes your shield throw to detonate the stakes, dealing massive damage, while another upgrade causes your shield to bounce between nearby enemies for more crowd control. This is a level of personalization the previous two entries never reached. In 2016 and Eternal, the upgrades you chose gave your weapon a big boost, but rarely had much impact on the way you actually approached combat. The upgrade system in the Dark Ages, on the other hand, encourages you to choose your upgrades wisely and develop entirely new playstyles depending on what you go for. Rather than just changing weapons to counter certain enemy types, you're now changing weapons to deal with entire scenarios. Maybe you want balance from your weapons, being capable of taking on both single targets and waves of mobs without having to swap to a different gun. Or maybe you'd prefer to keep them separate, one gun that specializes in mowing down hordes, and another that can deal massive focused damage to bosses. This approach to progression makes the combat in the Dark Ages feel significantly more strategic and purposeful, and even in our brief time with the game, it was obvious how much it does to keep things fresh across an entire playthrough. Level design is another area that has seen improvements over Doom 2016 and Eternal, and while they aren't quite as drastic as the changes to combat and upgrades, they certainly make a difference. The game is still split into distinct levels like before. Doom isn't going all open world on us yet. The levels in Doom 2016 and Eternal are all pretty linear. Make your way from A to B and pick up a couple of secrets in a hidden room or two along the way. That's still true, but there's a lot more scope for exploration in the Dark Ages. Many rooms now give way to multiple paths that wind around the map, sometimes looping back on themselves once you've explored enough of the area. This is turned up to 11 with Siege, footage of which you're watching right now. Rather than your standard linear level, here you're dropped into an honest-to-goodness battlefield. A few objective markers are thrown up on your screen, and from there you're left to your own devices, free to wheel around the map, completing them in whatever order you see fit. Beyond the combat, the level is brimming with secrets, gold, and upgrades, so you're really encouraged to search every nook and cranny while you're busy demolishing demons. If I wasn't already sold on Doom the Dark Ages, this was the point where I knew for sure that this game is set to be something special, and the only downside is that I have to wait another month before I can jump back in. So, Will you be diving into Doom the Dark Ages when it releases on the 13th of May? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.